Hey folks, I'm attorney RP Foley, and today I'm going to talk to you about the arrest of celebrity golfer, famous golfer Tiger Woods. He was arrested for DUI. My understanding was Monday morning. Today's Tuesday. Yesterday I was out and about with my godchildren and came up that Tiger Woods had been arrested for DUI. The reports that I read online said he was uncooperative, that he was arrogant. So today I just wanted to pull the reports because I feel like the news outlets are always sensationalizing things. And it turns out that, in fact, he wasn't arrogant and he was very cooperative. They say that he was sleepy. He was actually stopped on the side of the road on Military Trail, which is a common road that goes through South Florida and through Jupiter. That his vehicle allegedly was half in the shoulder and half in the right lane, that his right turn signal was on, that his foot was on the brakes as evidenced by the back tail light, and that when the officer approached, he appeared to be, Mr. Woods' eyes appeared to be closed and possibly sleeping, or was resting. So the first thing that comes to mind when you see someone that's sleeping, obviously it's a negative inference. It tends to make people think, oh, he must be under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It's a DUI. He drank. Well, no, it could also mean other things. And one of the key things that it can mean is sleep deprivation. Mr. Woods indicated, during his conversations with police, that he had been in LA golfing. He also mentioned that he had a recent surgery, so I guess he's trying to get back into form. But it says that he was golfing in LA. I'm assuming that's Los Angeles. I know from traveling back and forth myself that that's roughly a 6-hour flight with a time difference of 3 hours from California to the East Coast here. So the first thing I start to think of as a defense attorney is sleep deprivation. Now you go, well, that's a defense attorney. No, that's what you should think, because he's innocent until proven guilty, folks. So what do? They have him exit the vehicle, and Officer Burrows is called. And I don't know if Officer Burrows is DRE, meaning I don't know if he's a drug recognition expert or not. And why is that important? Because the HGN, the horizontal gaze and the nystagmus test, that's the one where they put the little pen with the light, and they move their fingers back and forth, and they're looking for an involuntary jerking at 45 degrees if your eye's bouncing, and whether or not your eyeball is tracking smoothly or if it's jerking as it goes across. If it does either of those things, those are indicators of impairment, either through drugs or alcohol, but it also could be a neurological sign. So anyway, that test wasn't done. So again, I don't know if Officer Burrows is DRE certified or not, but it's really not important. If he is, it would have come in. If he's not, it wouldn't have come into evidence if the case goes to trial. So what does Mr. Woods do? Well, he exits the vehicle and he does the walk and turn test. That's the test, folks, that you'll see on the videos on YouTube. 9 steps forward, 9 steps back. The very beginning of that test is called the instructional stance, where you have to put your front foot here, and then you put your right foot in front of it, and basically it's your heel to your toes. So let's call this your heel, and these are your toes. You have to stand like that, which is very difficult to do. And I would say that I've been doing DUIs for 13 years now. 95% of people have problems with the instructional stance. It's just an uncomfortable, not normal, and you're being placed in a position that you're just not accustomed to. So additionally, as you all know, Tiger Woods has had back surgeries and has been going through rehab and what have you, and he also mentions that in the police reports. So anyway, the officer says that he fails to stay in the instructional stance, basically steps out of it. That doesn't mean all that much, folks, again, because it's such an unusual position to stand in. That he goes 9 heel to toe steps, but he doesn't touch on every heel to toe step, meaning his heel and his toe don't touch exactly. And again, I don't know what shoes he's wearing, because depending, if you're wearing flip-flops, you're not going to really jam your toes in as you're walking. So footwear is important. He does the steps. They say that at one point during the walk and turn that he stops momentarily to kind of balance himself. He raises his arms above 45 degrees. These are all normal things. They can be indicators of impairment, and the officer is required to find at least 2 clues. And this is determined by National Highway Traffic and Safety. They came up with a book, which are these exercises, these road sobriety exercises. So Tiger allegedly makes some mistakes on those things. Again, that could be because of his back injury. That could be based on sleep deprivation, or it could be based on prescription medication that he allegedly took. We know for sure that it's not based on alcohol, because why? He blew triple 1, 2, 3 0, triple 0. He gave 2 breath samples, and they were both triple zeros, right? After he gave those breath samples and it was determined that there was no alcohol in his system, then he was asked to do a urine test, which he voluntarily did. Now, that's allegedly. He gave it. Whether it's voluntarily or not, I don't know. I haven't spoken to Mr. Woods. But ultimately, there is a urine sample, so we'll know the results of that shortly. Now, the second test he did was the one-leg stand, where you basically stand with your feet together, no spaces, no gaps. Basically, your feet go like this. You stand there, you look down, you raise your foot off the ground approximately 6 inches. And what the officers don't tell you, and what they do, is they kind of bend whichever leg they choose to lift. The other leg, if you bend it just slightly, it gives you a little bit more balance, as opposed to balancing on a stiff leg, one stiff leg, right? It's sort of like a pogo stick. Well, if you bend it slightly, it gives your body a better ability to stand. Well, anyway, they say during that stance, basically it's one leg stand, he counts to a number, usually up to 30, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And they say in the report that during the course of that, he put his foot down a couple of times. Again, could that be a direct result of sleep deprivation, or could that be a result of his back surgeries and his medical issues, or could that be consistent with being under the influence? All those things are possible, right? They also ask him to I guess recite not the Pledge of Allegiance. What did they say? It's weird because in the report it says something about they actually don't even say what they ask him to do, but they say that they ask him, do you understand? He goes, yes. You want me to say the Star Spangled Banner backwards? So to me, when I first read that, I know some people would read and go, oh geez, he must be really loaded. No, I read it as maybe he was kind of being like, joking, like, what do you want me to do? Like, you want me to, because people always think you want them to read the alphabet backwards or something. So normally what officers ask, especially in Jupiter, for whatever reason, it's not a test, it's not an exercise, it's just something that they do, is they tend to ask people to read the alphabet without singing it, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way through, and ultimately, after they retold him what they wanted, he completed that test. They don't even say what the test is in the report. They just said his response is, you want me to say the Star Spangled Banner backwards? So I don't know if he's joking at that point or if he misunderstood what they were saying. But anyway, he completed that test. So triple zeros, folks, triple zeros. He did say that he had taken prescription medication, but it doesn't say in the report when he last took that. And when he was read his Miranda rights at the end of it, after he took his breath test and urine test samples, he was then asked if he wanted to answer questions on film, and he declined, which is what any attorney would tell him to do, which was a good thing. So there's a lot of gaps. So when I read this police report, when I read the news reports, I thought nothing. I go, don't believe anything you read in the news, folks. But when I read the police reports, and I don't believe much of what I read in police reports, but it gives me some indication, right? Jupiter Police, out of all the police departments I work with, are one of the better police departments. Are they the most experienced in DUIs? No. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Does everyone make mistakes? We're all human, right? So what I'm looking at in Mr. Woods' DUI case is what defenses he has. So I see defenses, I see gaps, I see details that are not included in the police report that would come out in deposition, and I see ways to defeat the case, quite frankly. Now, that's if Mr. Woods wants to fight the case. Let me tell you a quick thing about Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County has a DUI diversion program. What does that mean? That Mr. Woods could simply, at arraignment or the first case disposition, plead guilty to a reckless driving. There was no accident, and his blood alcohol level was below 2.0. Obviously, it was 0, right? So, and there was no drugs or illegal substances found in his car. There's no accident. So he's eligible right off the bat for a DUI diversion program, which would be he would plead to a reckless driving charge. He would get 12 months of probation, and possibly mail-in probation, because my understanding is that he goes from state to state traveling for his job. They may do mail-in probation. Some community service hours, which I'm sure Mr. Woods probably does a lot for the community as it is, but he might have to do some community service hours, usually a 75. Take a DUI class, any follow-up treatment that was needed. Those are all conditions of the DUI diversion program in Palm Beach. So right off the bat, there's two options. He can either fight the case, or he can enter into a diversion program. So I know the picture wasn't that most flattering, but to me, it was very consistent with sleep deprivation. And I think whatever attorney he hires, if he hires someone like me, if he hires, one of the DUI guys in town that have experience, that have done dozens, hundreds of DUIs, then they're going to walk him through these options. There's options, and he's innocent until proven guilty. Again, there's definite defenses in Tiger Woods' case. I'm attorney Roger P. Foley, talking to you about Tiger Woods' DUI. Thanks for listening.